I hope you are all able to see the screen and hear me. Okay. You guys can see the screen? Okay. Great. So we were discussing about the concept of overloading and overriding. We need to understand uh, in both these topics, the class, the method name in the parent and the child class is same. But in the concept of overloading, the method gets additional signature difference. So there could be some input arguments, some output arguments which the method can return or can intake, which is different than from the parent class method. Whereas in the concept of overriding, the methods have exactly the same name and signature, though their implementation could be different. In that situation, only one method exists in the child class, which is the child class implementation, because the child class implementation has overridden the implementation of the parent class. If you still have questions, please feel free to let me know. Go ahead, Samir.
The question I have is, in case of overloading, if you create the object of class B and you don't specify the method signature with having the string name, then it is called the class A, right? As the hello method.
If I create an object of class B, I will be able to see the implementation of both methods, class A and class B. It is up to me to call whichever I'm interested in.
Okay, okay, I understood. Now my next question is, in case of overriding, when I create the object of class A, and if I call the method say by, it will calling from the class B, not from the class A. Then what is
No,
the significance of
no,
class A in this case?
no. If you
And I,
create an object of class A, it is going to call method of class A. Class A does not know existence of class B. Class
no,
A
I am not
is,
talking class A. I am talking about the class B in case of overriding. If
in
I
case
cannot
of
access,
overriding, you will
if
be,
I can, okay, go ahead.
I have understood your question. In case of class B, if you create an object of class B, you will not be able to access the class A method anymore from class B object because you have
All
overridden it.
right. So then there is no need of access. Means inheriting class A if I cannot access its method, right?
No, that is not true. It is just one of the methods. Class A can have multiple methods. Maybe one of the methods you have overridden. It is not a binary situation.
Okay.
Let us take this example. You created animal class. Let us say we all had in this animal class a method called as breathing. And in this method, you simply said print breathing. Okay. Then you created a land animal class. In the land animal class, you also have breathing, but this breathing will say print from lungs. The same in water animal will say from gills. So breathing is a function of the class animal, but its implementation and its child class are different for two different classes.
Okay.
The function definition or the function existence itself is coming from the parent class, but the child class is overriding the function existence. Doesn't mean it is irrelevant. I can still create object of animal class and do my work.
Okay. But in case of other programming language like Java and C Sharp, we can specify like super and then can access. And in case of C Sharp, we call the base class, base dot and the function name. So it is accessible in the child class, but
You
through a
can do
different
the same
keyword.
here also. You are accessing it through the base class. I can access it through the animal class, but I cannot access it through the land animal. Irrespective of your programming language, whether C Sharp or Java or Python, a method once overridden will not allow you to access the parent class method from the child class object, but from the parent class itself you can access it.
Okay.
Okay. We create class A. We have a method in here, say hello, which simply say print hello. We have another method, say bye, which says bye. I create another class which inherits from the parent class A. In here, I create a method say hello, which takes a string also. Here I say, let's call it as name. I create another method which is same, this is overriding. Here I say print. Now when I create an object of class B, do you say only one implementation say bye but two implementations of say hello? Okay, I'll wait for your guys' screen to change. Meanwhile, the screen loads. Try this code on your system. I have shared the code. I hope you guys have received the code. When you use the accessibility operator with the B object which is created, you will be able to see one implementation of say bye and two implementation of say hello. Did you all receive the shared code? So you got the code? Have a look at the code. If you still have doubts about overloading and overriding, let me know. Are you all able to try out the code at your end? This example shows both overloading and overriding, Marian. If you look at the say hello method, that is overloaded. If you look at the say bye method, that is overridden. If you create an object of the B class and you say B object dot, you will be able to see that you can call both the say hello method from the parent class and the child class. But you can only call one say by method, that is from the parent class, the child class, sorry. That is what I am trying you guys to understand. Yes, you can do it in one code because it is just that the method implementations are different. So I want you guys to understand what happens when something is getting overloaded and what happens when something is getting overridden. That's okay. You guys can take your time to understand the concept. There is no hurry. You have time to understand the concept. There are two perspectives, overloading and overriding. The difference in their implementation and the usage should be clear to you guys at the end of the day. That is the only objective. So if you are able to understand what is overloading, what is overriding, that's good enough for us. So So there is only one assignment problem. It is a pretty lengthy assignment, as in this assignment has got a lot of subparts. But the idea is that this assignment will help you understand the concept of object-oriented programming, about what we have learned. So basically, this assignment is going to talk about how you can create a class called as city and then declare different attributes and functions and then create objects, provide them some data and work with it. So the question though appears very lengthy, it is not difficult, it is just that it has got all these subparts which, like, if you do one step each, you are basically solving every subpart. So that is the only assignment for today, okay? So if you are wondering about when do you use overloading, when do you use overriding, I gave you an example with this animal class. Let us say all animals can breathe. When you inherit the animal class as a land animal, your breathing function changes. You breathe through lungs. Similarly, a water animal does not have lungs. So it will also have a breathing function, but it will be breathing through gills. So we are going to override in this situation. The same function of breathing is no longer a simple breathing for a land animal and a water animal. They are going to override. Okay? What is overloading? Overloading means that the same function exists in parent and child, but the child can also function in a different manner. So it has got some extra information available which it can also do. In that situation, the the concept becomes overloaded. So the idea is such things exist in real time. You have a function which is a default function, but then you can also do something extra. In that situation, you are going to overload. In another situation where your function itself changes, the behavior is same, the name of the behavior is same, but the way the behavior is conducted is entirely changed, then you are overriding. In overloading, both exist, both coexist, but one thing is able to do extra. Let us say appendix is a vestigial organ for us. We have got no function of it, but maybe another human species come in, say another 10,000 years or so, which is able to use this. So it exists, but in another species it is overloaded. It is doing something else also. Let us say we all have eye, but some species can also have a night vision. We all have day vision, but another species has a night vision too. Then they are overloading. They can see in the day, they can also see in the night. The behavior is same, the behavior is sight, but the sight in that another species has an extra function where it can see in night, though they can see in day also. So they have an overloaded benefit. Both can coexist in overloading. In overriding, you are overriding entirely the behavior. So only one behavior now exists, which is your child behavior. So think it from that perspective. Think from the real time situations, pick real time examples. Let us say you have created a mobile application, okay? In that mobile application, you have a simple feature of password protection. Now, passwords, there are different ways of password protection. Let's say you have created a method to protect the password by text, a default feature. You created another application which is basically inheriting. So there is a code which has been written. So you have a security code. In another application which you are creating, you have taken that security code and you are overriding the password protection. Now the password protection can only be provided through fingerprints. In another application, you want to give both features, password protection through fingerprint and password protection through text also. So in another application implementation, you would like to overload the method. But in the first application implementation, you would like to override the method. So think from that perspective. That's how overriding and overloading gets used in real time. If you want to keep the function of the parent class also accessible in child class, overloaded. If you think that that function will no longer be required because the child class behavior is very much different, then override it. That's how we talk about it. I hope this helps. Yeah, I agree. You would have to review. But reviewing will help with the help of example. So try to relate with some real-time examples which make sense to you. You can pick from the physical and the biological world and try to think where in real time you can see overloading and overriding happening. Yeah, we had some glitches. Looks like GoToWebinar is not in a good mood today. Sure. So we have got a last concept about interfaces, though it is not much used in Python, but nevertheless it is a concept associated with object-oriented programming. So it is good to know about it. In the concept of interfaces, you effectively have only the declaration of the methods, not the definitions. So what you have available are empty methods in an interface. So an interface is like a contract which we have created. Okay. An interface is like a contract which we have created, and we say that any class which is trying to implement that interface has to abide by that contract. So interface is a contract which is created with help of empty methods. So methods are only declared, not defined. A class trying to implement the interface will have to provide definition to those methods. For example, let us say I've created an interface car. Now any car outside there will have to have the implementation of these two methods like mileage and color. On my system, I can see that your screens are changing. That's why I was moving at a speed. So interface is an entity in which I'm going to talk about it, so listen to me. Interface is an entity in which we have got empty declaration of methods. So methods do not have a body. There is no implementation of the methods available. You can think about the interface as if there are some guidelines which are available within it. So interface effectively provides you about how something would look like, how something would behave. So it is going to provide you with some guidelines. It is up to the class which is trying to implement the interface to make use of those guidelines and provide some structure to it. Okay? So the purpose of interface is a contractual in nature. It is supposed to provide you with some guidelines. Anything which is trying to implement that interface will have to implement those guidelines. That means it will have to basically provide definition to those methods. For example, in here, are you all able to see this interface car which is created? So we say class I car which inherits from interface. So it is effectively an interface we are creating. It has got two methods, mileage and color. There is no implementation of these two methods. These are empty methods. Are you all able to see this? Now I create a class called as BMW. Let me know when your screen has changed and you can see the BMW class now. Okay. So the BMW class, do you read this class BMW implements iCar? So we use this keyword implements to implement an interface. So it implements iCar. When it is trying to implement iCar, it will have to have both these methods, mileage and color, and provide body to them. So some data is provided. So when you create an object of car1, do you see color and mileage? When you create an object of car1, I hope you are able to see these two methods, color and mileage. These are the implemented methods in the BMW class. So, what is the purpose of interface? The purpose of interface is to basically provide us with some guidelines about what all methods should be there, what all functions should be there. But it is on the class which is trying to implement that interface that the behavior of the function, the definition of these functions, what that those functions should be doing will be defined. Let us take one last example, and that I'll be doing it in the notes. So let me know when you are able to see notes to help you guys understand. So we create an interface called as chair. So what are the guidelines you can think the chair should have? Can I say should have four legs? Should have a seat to sit. Let's say there should be a property called as rotation. You can, sit and move around the chair. Then let us say recliner, arms. These are some of the functions a chair can or cannot have, correct? Either the chair will be, you will be able to recline the chair or you will not be able to recline the chair. Either you will be able to rotate the chair or you will not be able to rotate the chair. Let's say adjustable height. Maybe you can change the height of the chair or you cannot change the height of the chair. Now, what are the different types of chairs we have seen in life? Can I say garden chair? Can I say office chair? Can I say a hotel reception chair? These are some of the different chairs we have seen in life. These all are chairs, right? A garden chair, office chair, a hotel reception chair. Their implementations, they all have these feature function set. All these chairs have four legs, they have a seat to sit. Some chairs you can rotate, some chair you can recline. They may or may not have arms. You may or may not be able to adjust the height. But nevertheless, these functions are available because they all belong to the type of chair. When you look at them, you know that, oh, they all belong to the chair class, chair interface. So they may or may not have these function sets with the same behavior. A garden chair may have zero rotation, but an office chair may have the entire 360-degree rotation. A hotel reception chair may have zero recliner ability, but an office chair has a recliner ability. So the function exists. So either it is 0 degree or 100 degree. So the chair itself is not implementing these functions. It is providing you the guideline that if you want to create a chair, these are the things you should consider. Depending upon the type of chair you are trying to create, you provide the basic behavior of these functions. This is what an interface is. So go through these recordings. Try to have a very clear understanding of class, object, inheritance, class, object, constructor, inheritance, overloading, overriding, and interface. Have a very clear understanding of these 7 entities we have discussed. What is a class? What is an object? What is a constructor? What happens in inheritance? What happens in overloading, overriding? And what happens when something is defined as an interface? So it should be very clear to you. Okay? That is the only objective for this week. Does it help? So everything, there will be 2 videos which will be shared today. And rest everything, code, exercise and assignment will be shared with you shortly. So work on them, work on these concepts, and if you guys have any questions, we will take it up next week. But try to be at pace, try to finish off this concept which we have discussed this week, because the next 2 classes, rather all the classes henceforth, are going to be very largely dependent upon the concept of object-oriented programming. So this concept should be crystal clear in your mind. Okay? Henceforth, the topics which we are going to discuss are based upon the concepts of object-oriented programming. So now and then we will be picking up few words. So these jargons should be clear. So spend time this week on this concept. Read as much as you want to and sit and do these exercises. Don't theoretically solve it, actually code it. So that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm sorry that you guys had to face these network problems, but sometimes we have to. Can't help it. So sorry for that, and thank you so much for your patience, guys, today. Thank you. Take care. Bye, everyone.